Your accuracy with our fairways, water hazards, and sand traps. We have everything you need to challenge and improve your game. Find us in Medford with 18 holes of the most challenging golf in Burlington County. With meticulous course management and courteous staff, Golden Pheasant provides a day of golf to be remembered. Call 609-267-4276 or visit goldenpheasantgc.com to book your tee time.
A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is 97.3 ESPN, home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hey, got 'em!
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Monday edition of Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank Seattle. Eagles are still the only undefeated team in all the NFL. And on the same weekend that the Phillies cleaned house with the Cardinals, the Eagles found a way to win. So we're going to get into the Eagles win, the Phillies win, all of that and more coming up here on 97.3 ESPN's Game Night. Coming up less than 20 minutes from now, Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press will get his perspective on the weekend in the NFL. The Eagles, are they the best team in the NFC? Some people don't agree. Some people think it's the Cowboys. Some people think it's the Eagles. We'll ask Rob Maaddi his perspective. Plus, Rob Maaddi spent a long time covering baseball in Philadelphia before he became a full-time NFL guy. He's a Baseball Hall of Fame voter. I'll get his perspective as well on the Phillies not just getting to the postseason, but winning. And, of course, you can join the conversation as well. 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also could DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we asked a question earlier today at 973 ESPN on Twitter. And Mike Gill and Pete Thompson talked about it some during the Sports Bash. And the question was, what has more of your interest this week? Is it Eagles-Dallas week, the 5-0 Eagles versus the 4-1 Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, which you can hear right here on 97.3 ESPN FM, your home for Eagles football in South Jersey? Or is it the Phillies-Braves series that starts tomorrow, which you can also hear right here on 97.3 ESPN FM? Game one coverage tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. And then Mike Gill will come on immediately after the Phillies game is done. And on the flip side, you have game two on Tuesday. First pitch is around 4:37. So once Mike Gill is done with football at 4, he will lead right into the Phillies game on Wednesday. So no game night on Wednesday, game night on Tuesday. So we got a busy week. We're trying to make all the allotments we can for Phillies and playoff baseball. We'll bring you the Yankees playoff games as well, a couple days this week as well, here on 97.3 ESPN. But the poll question was, what do you have more interest in this week? And when Mike Gill read the poll last, about 20 minutes ago, it was 50-50. Well, now it's 48% Eagles, 51% Phillies, right? With some decimal points in there that I'm not going to get into for brevity's sake. But I think that the poll question does an incredible job at encapsulating the Philadelphia sports fan. Because right now, you're not really focusing on the Eagles heavily until we get closer to Sunday. When we get to like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I feel like that poll question is going to flip extremely the other way. But for right now, the Phillies play Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Friday, Saturday. That's at least the first 4 games if it only goes 4 games. Game 5 scheduled for Sunday. So I'm not surprised that what has your interest right now is the Phillies because they're the team that's going to play sooner. But we can't deny the fact that the Eagles-Cowboys game is one of the most important games of the season this coming Sunday. And for me, when I voted in the poll, I voted for the Eagles because it's not that I don't have interest in the Phillies. That's why poll questions like this, creates so much consternation. It's the idea that if you are being honest with yourself, what has more value? What has a bigger a bigger moment in time? Football is a once a week game. You only have 17 games in the NFL to make your statement, place your foot in the ground, and tell the world who you are. Baseball is a 162 game season, and then you got the postseason, and there's so much stuff that happens in baseball. I mean, a baseball season starts in spring training in March. I mean, well, actually, if we're really being literal, February pitchers and catchers report, and then October is when you actually have the playoff game. So for a professional baseball player, you're starting your on-the-job season in February, and you're going into the postseason if your team under a normal schedule that wasn't this year's bizarro world with the lockout, you're starting in October. So it's an 8-month run, 8 months out of 12. Football, of all the sports, is arguably the shortest because even though training camp technically starts in July, it's the end of July. It's not even the beginning of July. So let's say more likely that it's August. And if you make it to the Super Bowl, it's the first week of February. So in reality, you're talking about a schedule that's only half the year. It's only 6 months, basically. So there is a higher importance to a football game week in and week out than a baseball game week in and week out. And even in the postseason, look, the 96 Yankees were down 2-0 and they won the World Series. You don't have to win game one of a playoff series to win at all. And for the Phillies, because of the way the schedule played out and the fact that they went Wheeler-Nola 1-2 in the Cardinals series, Wheeler's starting game 2, Nola's starting game 3, and Ranger Suarez, who was scheduled to start game 3 of the Cardinals series, is going to go in game 1 against Max Fried. So not an ideal matchup. So there's a possibility that the Phillies lose game 1 tomorrow and then wins games 2 and 3 with Wheeler and Nola, because right now there's no guarantee that Strider is going to pitch for the Braves. He's dealing with an injury, so I don't know when he's coming back. He's technically on the injured list right now. And the Braves starters for the next 2 games, you got Fried in game 1, Wright in game 2, and I'm assuming if Strider can't go in game 3, my working assumption, not that I have any special insight, but my working assumption is they'll probably go with Morton, I'm assuming, because Morton, even though he didn't have an elite season, you could argue he's one of their most important pitchers because he led the team in strikeouts. He had a rocky year in terms of allowing earned runs this year, but he's still a playoff-tested, high-caliber pitcher. So I'd be surprised if Morton starts game 3, and then maybe they hope Strider is available for game 4. For the Phillies, there's a strong possibility you lose game 1 and you win games 2 and 3. And by the time you win games 2 and 3, you know what day it is? It's the weekend. And what happens on the weekend? Your mind starts turning over to the Eagles. And I don't care what baseball thinks. I don't care who people are. If anybody thinks putting the Phillies game in and around the same time the Eagles game on Sunday is a good idea, they're going to lose that battle. Because at the end of the day, aside from a 5-year run, the Phillies have never been the number 1 team in the city. Outside of 2008 to 2011, outside of that run, and then part of 2007, this team, the Phillies, this is not a baseball town first. During the 70s, you could argue it was a hockey town, actually, with the Flyers and their dominance. In the 80s, it was kind of like a split bag between the Phillies and the Sixers because the Sixers, it seemed like they're going to the NBA Finals every single year, and the Phillies are going to the World Series every other year. So, but aside from the late 70s into the early 80s, aside from 93 and 2011, the Phillies have never been good enough to captivate the attention of this city consistently because this is a football town first. And I think when we get closer to Sunday, the attention is going to turn more in that direction. Josh Hennig here on Game Night 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And whether you're watching the Phillies tomorrow or Wednesday, Thursday football, or the Yankees playoff game on Thursday, Phillies Friday and Saturday, college football Saturday, NFL Sunday, watch it all at the FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's off the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Bet, watch, and win all season long. Plus, enjoy your favorite games from all over the world with 10 betting kiosks, 5 betting windows, 13 big screen TVs, and plenty of comfortable seating. So just head over to FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's off the boardwalk in Atlantic City to get in on all the action this season. FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be enjoyable and fun. Visit FanDuel.com/playwell. Learn more. Must be 21 or to play and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, to get to some of the particulars from the Eagles game really quick, and of course, we'll get to your thoughts and comments a little bit later. The hour text board is open, 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. I think that the Eagles game yesterday had two very important aspects to it. Number one, it might have been one of the most important games of the season. I made this comment to some people yesterday in a group text I'm in. And I said, we forget how important the 2017 loss was for those Eagles when they lost to the Chiefs early in the year. That loss was so important to get that team refocused, get them recalibrated. You know, Doug Peterson had to rethink his offensive game planning and his calling. You saw that after that game is when Carson Wentz really took off, for the rest of the season, how the defense became real big time, how they were able to prepare themselves for the eventual losses of Jason Peters and Jordan Hicks. And now the team was able to carry that adversity as almost fuel when they made the postseason run. And then, of course, we know what happened in the Super Bowl. So yesterday could be one of those kind of games where you won on the scoreboard, but you kind of lost on the field in some ways because Jonathan Gannon's defense got a little manipulated again. It was kind of like watching the Lions game all over again in the second quarter, where you're watching the defense run one way and the offensive player run the other way. The missed tackles on the Marquise Hollywood Brown touchdown, the failures on coverage for Benjamin. It wasn't like the Cardinals were dominating offensively, but they were doing enough to make you nervous. They were doing enough of missed tackling, poor positioning by the defenders. And it wasn't because Devontae Maddox wasn't out there. I think it was because I think the Eagles didn't adjust quickly enough to certain things the Cardinals were doing, and they were able to take advantage. And they were very fortunate that Kyler Murray didn't see the first down marker. They were very fortunate that Matt Amendola was the kicker instead of Matt Prater, because under normal scenario, that game is going to overtime. And the fact that the offense stagnated the way they did, the way Devonta Smith dropped another ball this season. I mean, this guy was as shorthanded as anybody at Alabama, and he's now dropped multiple passes with the Eagles. It just is kind of a weird thing. So maybe the game on Sunday can be a humbling experience for the Eagles to say, hey, we got to be better. And we can be better, and we got to do better, because you cannot play that way when you face the Cowboys this Sunday with the division lead on the line. Talk more about with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press as we do every Monday. Coming up next, I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles continue the 2022 season this Sunday night against their NFC East rivals, the Dallas Cowboys.
We circled this date the second the schedule comes out. There's nothing normal about playing against the Dallas Cowboys.
Pre-game coverage starts at 7 p.m. with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action starting at 8:20. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's official Eagles station.
Hey, Bird Gang, now's your chance to score game-changing savings on a new Honda from Boardwalk Honda. Get 1.9% APR financing for 48 months on a new 2022 Honda Passport, Pilot, or Ridgeline. Start your game-winning drive today at Boardwalk Honda. Visit us in Egg Harbor Township or online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Boardwalk Honda.
Call us toll-free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Biana's bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-929-2121. That's 1-800-929-2121. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-929-2121. That's 1-800-929-2121.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Okay, I just saved on some amazing fall style picks at Kohl's, and I need to talk about it. I found myself the cutest tops from Sonoma Goods for Life starting at $15.99. Long sleeve must-haves for my husband starting at under $18. And fun looks for my kids starting at just over $10. Plus, you can take an extra 20% off or save even more with a Kohl's card. So for more fall style and more savings, you gotta get to Kohl's. Select styles, 20% offer ends October 16th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Come on, we're going to be late to the cookout. I was just packing up my famous mac and cheese. I hope you packed the Pepto, too. Huh? Pepto-Bismol provides fast relief from heartburn and indigestion. You know, that uncomfortable feeling after you eat too much? And after the deviled eggs, baked beans, and barbecue ribs? You're going to need it. Barbecue ribs? I should probably pack an extra shirt, too. Good call.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children. Hey, Nissan, how do you get to the top?
Calculating. Proceed to 1959. Take a hard left in East Africa at the 71 Safari Rally. Veer right for 19 off-road championships in the Baja Desert. Proceed towards Moab. Take the trail to Hell's Revenge. Include steep incline. Continue for the next 1,000,000 miles.
Where to first again?
60 years, millions of miles, and the capability to take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
Hey, Josh Hennig here to tell you about how Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has helped your favorite football team. Did you know that over 40 years ago, John Jenkins Sr. invented the heated seat that football players sit on today? Yes, the Jenkins family created a way for football players to weather the extreme cold. Now imagine what Jenkins could do for your home. Call Jenkins for plumbing, drain cleaning, and leak repairs, gas furnace boiler, and hot water heater replacements. Call Jenkins today at 609-641-6262, online at jenkinsandsons.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Well, over the weekend, as you heard it here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the Phillies beat the Cardinals. They finished them off Saturday night. And then the Eagles beat the Cardinals on Sunday evening. I mean, I don't know what's more of an odd thing. The fact that both teams beat Cardinals this weekend, or the fact that you have both teams now playing division rivals in the next round. Oh, and by the way, the Giants beat the Packers in London on Sunday morning. I mean, this whole weekend has been absolutely wild, and we'll get into all of it now. Rob Maaddi covers the NFL. He's their lead NFL writer for the Associated Press. He joins us every Monday to talk football. And Rob, before I get to the football, first of all, welcome back to the show, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. It's a red October. I'm thinking of coming up for it, Josh.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I mentioned before you just jumped on that you used to cover a lot of Phillies when you were up here in Philadelphia. So, and the last time they were in the postseason, I know you were all over it. So now that they're in the next round and they're playing the Braves, you got a lot of Philadelphia fans who are like, oh, they're playing the Braves and the Eagles are playing the Cowboys. There is like an emotional fervor going on right now up here.
Oh, man, I think it's a great time. I always loved October. I think October is the best time of year because I'm a big baseball guy, and you get right into the MLB playoffs, and you got the NFL going on. And for me, I just enjoyed it. I used to love I've covered everything, Josh, in Philly, from the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, the Phillies winning the World Series. I've covered the Flyers in the Cup. I covered the Sixers back in the NBA Finals in 2001 against LA. And my personal favorite time was the Phillies' 5-year run. Just going to postseason baseball in October and seeing the white rally towels and whatever they had, which I don't think they're allowed anymore. It's got to be red now, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but it was just so much fun. It was so enjoyable. And then that 2008 World Series ride and the guys, Charlie Manuel, Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Ruiz, and Chooch, and Cole. Like, it was a fun team to cover. And it was so enjoyable. And then to see how this team has suffered over the past decade, the fans have suffered over the past decade waiting for it. I didn't know what was going to happen once they got here. I thought maybe there could be, remember the 07 letdown? They get in, they get swept by Colorado. They work so hard to get there, but instead they get in and they keep going and they win. And there's no reason to think now, Josh, that they can't advance past Atlanta either.
Well, the other part of it is, I said this also earlier, Rob, and I'll throw it out to you. Look, game one, it's Ranger Suarez versus Max Fried. To me, I don't even care if you lose game one, because you got Wheeler game two, Nola game three. I mean, for goodness sake, the 96 Yankees were down 2-0 in the World Series and won that thing. I'm just warning Philly fans, don't panic if they lose game one, because you got your big guns game two and game three here.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but don't count out Ranger Suarez either, right? You don't know what kind of game he's capable of pitching if you can act tight in there, and then let the bats take over, because there's guys in this offense that still need to produce. Nick Castellanos still needs to produce. We've been waiting for him all year long to do something. Bryce Harper can get hot and carry the team. Kyle Schwarber can get hot and go on a 5-game tear easily. And we saw JT Realmuto step it up in the second half of the season. I think JT was the second half MVP. There's no second half MVP award, right? But I think he was the second half MVP of baseball, and should certainly, especially on a ballot where you list the top 10 in MLB, you vote for 10 guys. he's got to place in the top 10 in MVP. So I think this offense can get hot at the right time and maybe carry him through a game where Ranger Suarez starts. Maybe Zach Wheeler gives up 3 or 4 runs if he's not on, but still this offense can come through and pick them up. So it's an exciting time right now to be a Philadelphia sports fan, that's for sure.
And you're absolutely right, because I never thought I would see the day that Max Scherzer would get shelled in a postseason game. But on Friday night, I mean, I'm watching him implode. I was almost wondering if that was his stunt double in the game instead of him. It was just so ridiculous. So you're right. Anything can happen in baseball. And remind folks, Phillies game tomorrow here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 12:30. And then Mike Gill will come on right after game 1 and leading into game 2 here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, we got to talk about the other Cardinals from the weekend. The Eagles, I think this is an important game for them, Rob, because I think that you need games like this to humble you a little bit, to let you know that you don't have it all figured out. And there was a chance the Cardinals could have won that game yesterday. They didn't. And now the Eagles can walk out of town and maybe learn from this.
Yeah, you're not going to win every game real easily or handily, and each game's not going to be pretty. And to be able to walk out of there with a W where it took a little bit of extra work and then some luck there at the end, and Kyler Murray screwing up, which didn't surprise me. I don't know what the fascination has been with Kyler Murray all along. I didn't think he was worth that contract. I don't think he's a winning postseason quarterback, and he hasn't done anything yet. And I said this during the game yesterday. I don't care how it ends. Jalen Hurts' contract needs to start at Kyler Murray's and go up. He's just a better quarterback. Jalen Hurts is already a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. And then you saw late in the game on a second down run when the Eagles were driving for the go-ahead field goal, Jalen Hurts had the presence of mind to slide in, to stay in bounds, to keep the clock running. And then on the opposite end, you see Kyler Murray sliding short, spiking the ball, forcing his team to kick a 42, 43-yard field goal that was missed. So I think overall, Jalen Hurts just showed you one more time why he is certainly in my book ahead of Kyler Murray. But this kind of win for the Eagles, man, I think is a game where teams that are for real, they find ways to win. And more, week in and week out, I'm starting to believe that this Eagles team may have something special going and that they're more for real than they are pretender. I know they only have beaten one team right now that's got a winning record at this point. And Minnesota's 4-1 and the Eagles demolished them. This week's going to be a tough test. Sunday Night Football against Dallas. Yet the Eagles, to me, have already shown 5 games in. They're not going to go 17-0. They may end up with 12 wins. They may end up with 11 wins. Whatever it is, they've come to the point now, Josh, where I think this team has a realistic chance to be there at the end of January, early February, and isn't a one-and-done playoff team.
I'm glad you brought up that point, because there's a lot of people who maybe they're haters, maybe they're just negative Nancy's, whatever they are. They keep saying, who have the Eagles beaten? And I was having this conversation yesterday, Rob, and I want to throw it out to you. To me, you got to beat who's in front of you. This is the NFL. When you face the Vikings, they came off a beating of the Packers. This Cardinals team has been dangerous the last couple of years with Kyler, and we saw it in the game yesterday. The Jags just went out to Los Angeles, destroyed the Chargers, and then came into your house. People are acting like, oh, the Eagles didn't beat anybody, to which my response is, no, they beat who was in front of them, and that's your job in the NFL.
And that's all you can do, Josh. And I know that's the flip side. Everybody wants to look at it. You go back to last year, right? The Eagles got into the playoffs. They were 9-8. They beat the bad teams. They couldn't beat teams with elite quarterbacks. Okay, it's an understandable concern. It's an understandable pause. Yet, until they face those teams and come up short, we don't know what they're going to look like in those games. And I feel from what I've seen in the first 5 games, in the first 5 weeks, that this team is better equipped to handle those games this year than last year. The defense is light years ahead. They have more talent defensively. They understand the system. Jonathan Gannon isn't a first-year defensive coordinator with the Eagles right now. He knows who the players are, where he wants to position them, and how he can use them to maximize their talent. So this is a better team defensively, and Jalen Hurts has taken a step forward. You got more weapons on offense. So I know they're banged up on the offensive line a little bit, and that may be a cause for concern depending on the severity of some of those injuries, and they certainly need their guys to be back up front because they're a dominant offensive line, and that's what makes them go on offense. But I think this team is just so much better able to handle when they do face the good teams, the better teams, the elite quarterbacks than they were last year.
Of course, the Eagles are not going to play the Cowboys coming up. And what's interesting, Rob, is that the Eagles have the 7th best points against defensively. Cowboys have 3rd best points against defensively. The Eagles are 6th best in the NFL in quarterback hits. The Cowboys have the most quarterback hits. The Cowboys have the 7th fewest yards allowed in the NFL. The Eagles have the 4th fewest yards allowed in the NFL. So I'm not trying to make this into a gambling question, but I mean, Rob, you might just want to go under because I think this is going to be a defensive battle for these teams.
I haven't looked at it that closely as far as the over/under line. I thought the opening line for the game itself was at 4.5, 5, somewhere over there, something like that. So it's a big number. But I agree. When you look at these two teams, the Eagles defensively, as I was just saying, are so much more improved. But Dallas defensively, that's where it starts for them, and that's how they've been able to weather the storm without Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush is 4-0 thanks to a strong defense. And I know Micah Parsons, to me, I've said it year in and year out since he came into the NFL last year. Like, this is a guy who's such a playmaker, who's a dynamic player, who could take over a game. Now, I saw him walk off the field yesterday, a little bit banged up, a little bit nicked up, and depending on what that is and how much it can hamper his ability to go out there, he's a guy you got to keep an eye on, and he's a guy who could take over a game and wreck a game. But Dallas defensively is so strong. I probably would, without looking at the number right now, lean towards the under in that game on Sunday Night Football. It's going to be the play's going to be rocking. I know the Phillies by then, they could have advanced. They may be waiting on Game 5. Would be till Monday, right? Sunday would be Friday, Saturday.
Phillies game 5 is Sunday.
Oh, it would be Sunday.
Yes.
In Atlanta.
So
wow. So they would play Friday, Saturday, and then go no rest, not a day off, play Game 5. I didn't even see that yet.
That's what they have on the schedule right now. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That could be what a day. What a day that could be.
Now, you saw the Cowboys earlier this year when they played the Bucs, and that was an ugly game, Rob. I got to ask you, what is the biggest difference to you? Because I got to admit, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. And I was wrong about Mike McCarthy. I thought he was going to fail miserably in this stretch. And this team has found a way to win games. I know it's not all him. I think Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn have done a great job, but I got to give this team credit. This is a team that could have packed the bags and said, hey, Cooper Rush is the quarterback. So to Rob, what is the difference between the team week 1 and the team that has now won 4 straight?
Cooper Rush isn't trying to do everything by himself. He knows his limitations, and you got to give them, certainly, like you said, a ton of credit for being able to step in there, win 4 straight games with Cooper Rush. You see Tony Pollard, like, they go to L.A. It's SoFi, and I know the Rams have not much of a home field advantage, but to win that game against the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champions, on the road, that spoke volumes about where this team is right now. You see Tony Pollard break off a long run. You see what the defense was able to do to what we thought was going to be a dynamic Rams offense again this year. I know they got a couple different pieces, but this team is relying on strength of defense. On offense, they're not making mistakes. They're not turning the ball over. They're not hurting themselves. They're not committing penalties. And their run game is allowed them to really enables Cooper Rush to do some things that can get them to a point where he's not hurting them. They don't need Dak Prescott's dynamic abilities, and they're winning. What's going to be interesting is what happens when Dak comes back, because first of all, he sat out for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it's going to be. It's going to take a little bit of time. He's going to have a little bit of rust. So there's going to be a transition for them for sure. And there's no way And if there's no way that Dak Prescott's not the starting quarterback at $40 million a year. And with every win, Cooper Rush kind of makes it a little bit more difficult to make any kind of switch or change, but they know that. Jerry Jones said that. And I just anticipate a letdown when he steps into the lineup, because it's going to take a little bit of time for him to make up for a month away.
Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, our lead NFL writer, joining us here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. You can follow him on Twitter at Rob Maaddi. And Rob, I have to chuckle a little bit at the point you just made, because they're winning games with Cooper Rush. But that's the team winning. Like, there's no way anyone with two eyeballs can tell me that Cooper Rush won that game yesterday. That defense, they're just monsters. Like, they took over that game. I mean, before Cooper Rush took the field, the Cowboys were leading 6-0, not because of him. So, for me, like, people want to point to these wins for quarterbacks, and I can't accept that as an acceptable answer, Rob, because it's like, guess what? Teams win championships, not individuals.
That's the epitome of team winning right there. What you've seen over the past month and what's transpired with the Cowboys is a team coming together, winning games. And you see teams doing that. You saw the Eagles do that last year. The Eagles didn't win because of Jalen Hurts. They won with Jalen Hurts because their running game was strong, and they were able to dominate teams that way. Now, this year, their defense has stepped it up, and they're able to dominate. We saw them do it against the Minnesota Vikings in week 2. So the Cowboys are exactly that. They've got team wins. When Dak steps in there, he's got the talent and the ability to make big plays, and he can throw for 450 yards. He could throw for 4 touchdowns. You're not asking Cooper Rush to do that. But when you have a defense that is stingy, that keeps you in games, that has playmakers, that can turn the ball over and put your offense in a short field, that's helpful. And that's how you win with a backup quarterback. And that's what the Cowboys are going to need to be able to do to have a chance against the Eagles on Sunday night. I right now lean towards that being a field goal game. I think it's going to be a close game. You think it's going to be low scoring. I probably agree with you there, but I think it's going to be a close game that's decided somewhere late on a field goal.
By the way, for those who are wondering, the over-under right now is 42.5 is what it's opened at.
And what's the line? 4.5 or 5?
5.
5. Okay.
Which is probably going to change because, we know how that works.
Yeah.
Rob, I got to ask you about the Giants too, though, because they're the other team in the NFC East. Is this just as simple as new coach, new environment? Like, what do you point to with this?
I loved Brian Dable coming in. I thought they'd be an improved team, but I didn't think they would be improved to the point where they're competing for a playoff spot at 4-1. I thought this could be a 7 to 9 win team. And right now they're really surprising a lot of people. And to be able to beat Green Bay, I know it wasn't a home game. It was in London, and it was the Packers' first time in London. But to be able to beat them in a game like that and to come back and do it and to hold Aaron Rodgers and that offense scoreless in the second half was huge. It was very impressive. And at the end, I don't think that the the New York Giants are as good of a team as Green Bay. I think if they play on a neutral field 10 times, the Packers will probably win that one 8 or 9. Yet they were able to do it when it mattered yesterday. And that was a huge win for the organization. At the end of the season, do I envision them in the playoffs? I still don't. I still think that they're going to come back a little bit to earth here, and they'll still be hovering around the 9-win mark. But to get off to this start, to see the enthusiasm from the coach, Brian Dable, after that win, I thought was really cool. So much excitement, but that kind of enthusiasm from a head coach really is, the players pick up on that, and the environment's different. The culture's different. They want to play. They got confidence in themselves. They want to come to work Monday through Saturday to put in that effort to be able to compete on Sunday. And you see your coach react like that, you want to go out there and win for him again. So I do think he's a big-time difference maker.
Before I let you go, Rob, there were a couple of games that razor thin ending of games. The Chargers win over the Browns on the missed field goal, right? You have the situation to happen. I mean, for goodness sake, last night, the Ravens and the Bengals, that came right down to the wire. And then the other game yesterday, I don't think it's going to get enough conversation. The Saints barely beat the Seahawks yesterday. Those 3 games, we're not talking about it as much because everything is, Eagles and Cowboys and Giants around here, but all three of those games could have major impact down the road on playoff races.
Yeah, for sure. And I was at the Thursday night game that went into overtime, that real thriller of a Broncos-Colts game. And
you mean you saw in person all the Bronco fans leave in the fourth quarter?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I saw that, and that was just a terrible football game. So I went from that to the Falcons and Buccaneers on, and then you look around the league and you see like every game, it seems, no matter what it is through the first three quarters, it's going to get closer in the fourth. And it's going to give the NFL the ability to put out that stat. Well, X amount of games were one-score games. They were decided by one score in the fourth quarter, whatever it is, and they're closer games. Yeah, the Falcons stunk. It was a terrible – the Bucs were up 21-0 at one point, and you thought they were going to blow them out. And then here they come back, and I don't even want to get into that questionable call and all that stuff. But, yeah, the Ravens last night, man – you know what, Josh? Justin Tucker, they ought to just put him in a Hall of Fame right now. That guy is automatic, 58, 48, 43, 52, whatever it is. I've never seen a kicker that you can be as confident as the Ravens can be, that all you got to do is get it to that line of make, and he'll go out there and make it for him.
I love Tucker when he had to put his arms up and almost like his gladiator moment, you're not entertained kind of look on his face, it was just great. I mean, that guy is amazing.
Yep. I know Adam Vinatieri's probably, because he won Super Bowls with field goals, the greatest kicker of all time. But Justin Tucker, when it's all said and done, is going to be right there with him in Canton.
Listen, Vinatieri might have the resume, but Tucker's got the leg. I mean, Tucker may be the most talented kicker I've ever seen in terms of like physical, like ability. It was like 58 yards. Oh, nobody cares. It's Justin Tucker. Like, no offense to Vinatieri, like, he 58 yards. You're kind of wondering, like, where's the wind blowing? Like, what's the flags? You don't wonder that with Tucker at all.
And it isn't easy to kick in Baltimore. Baltimore's the north, right? There's winds you got to deal with.
Where's that wind tunnel in the one corner that like swirls through? Yeah.
To be able to, like, he's not kicking in Indianapolis. He's not kicking in a dome. He's kicking there and doing what he's doing. Man, I've never been like that high on any kid. Like, it's kickers. That's it. You go out there, you just don't lose a game for me. But this guy, he's just phenomenal. And you talk about GOATs in sports, you got to put him in that conversation.
It'll be an interesting conversation when he is up for the Pro Football Hall of Fame to see, how quickly or not quickly he gets in, because we all know those voters they're a bit odd bunch, Rob.
Oh yeah. What's interesting.
And we literally just lost Rob Maaddi in the middle of that answer. Rob was getting ready to say something interesting, and he just poof disappeared. Technology, the blessing and a curse, folks. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Rob was just ready to rattle on, and boom, technology looking away. But he was brought to us today thanks to my friends over at Jenkins and Sons. Trust Jenkins. Homeowners do, and so do business owners. They call Jenkins for leak stoppages, renovations. And because Jenkins technicians are trained to do it all, only one call you have to make. For new heating and air conditioning installation, service, and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing and drain cleaning services, call 609-641-6262 and visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. We'll wrap up the show on the other side. Your thoughts and comments on the other side. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. And you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. It's a big AFC West battle to wrap up Week 5 when Patrick Mahomes and the 3-1 Kansas City Chiefs take on Derek Carr and the 1-3 Las Vegas Raiders. Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and I will bring you all the action from Rockin' Arrowhead in Kansas City. Join us on Monday Night Football.
Listen to Monday Night Football on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30.
It's alive! It's alive!
He's trying to speak.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Yes, one time down at Springfield Mitsubishi in Atlantic City. Even the new Outlanders with third row seating.
Credit amnesty.
Yes, if you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credits. 25 grand with only one dime down.
Hey, now this is a Halloween party. Woo-hoo!
Every vehicle, one dime down.
Acres of vehicles in stock now. And you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Beat that.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville.
They service all makes and models. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
Oh, this is good dip. That's not dip.
New 22 Mirage, 16.4 dime down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR plus tax act title to qualified buyers.
Smart businesses are always looking for ways to improve. Better workdays can start with Cintas. Your dedicated Cintas service reps help make sure you have what you need when you need it. We'll stock your essential cleaning products, deliver hygienically clean workwear, inspect your fire extinguishers, and provide first aid and safety supplies. Cintas is with you every step of the way, so you stay a step ahead. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Come on, we're going to be late to the cookout.
I was just packing up my famous mac and cheese.
I hope you packed the Pepto, too.
Huh?
Pepto-Bismol provides fast relief from heartburn and indigestion. You know, that uncomfortable feeling after you eat too much? And after the deviled eggs, baked beans, and barbecue ribs? You're going to need it.
Barbecue ribs? I should probably pack an extra shirt, too.
Good call.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Are you seeing the telomeres here? Come here, look at the scope.
Dr. Ocasio's lab startup just discovered a gene therapy breakthrough.
The cells have already doubled.
He needs a fleet of research assistants before this breakthrough breaks them.
We need lab techs, research assistants.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's Incredible Crab Specials Wednesdays this fall. 2 pounds of snow crab legs for $49.99 or 2 pounds of snow crab legs and 4 hard shells for $79.99. Thursdays is Chicky and Pete's Go Birds Wing Special. Whatever the Eagles score on Sunday, you get that percentage off your wings on Thursday. Higher score, bigger discount. Plus our fall specialty menu with the mouth-watering garlic truffle burger and B-Dog Impact Nachos. Enjoy a pumpkin shandy or a smoked apple cider margarita. Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. And we know Saturdays in the fall are special. Why? College football. And we have you covered with food and drink specials and the best in-game experience to watch your team or the college football game of the week. Come watch Penn State, Temple, Villanova, Notre Dame, Texas, Michigan, Georgia, and more. College football Saturdays are special at Chickies and Pete's.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. It looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
The new Google Pixel 7 Pro is super, especially when it's on Verizon, the network America relies on. It's supercharged, super powered, and a super...
deal.
You know it. Now, switch to Verizon and get the Google Pixel 7 Pro on us with select trade-ins and select 5G unlimited plans.
That really is super.
Yep. There's never been a better time to switch to Verizon. $899.99 device payment purchase with new smartphone line on select 5G unlimited plans required. $200 Verizon e-gift card with port-in. Less $700 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in conditions and additional terms apply.
Listen up, South Jersey football fans. Are you interested in solar? Want a free roof? EMT Solar and Roofing has you covered. Visit ESPNsolar.com to see if your home qualifies for a free roof with solar installation. Don't wait, act now. Start saving thousands and virtually extinguish your electric bill. ESPNsolar.com is the place to go for your roofing or solar needs. No commitments, no hidden fees. Go to ESPNsolar.com to see if you qualify.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Sources confirm that Rob Maaddi's phone died. Sources being Rob Maaddi. I had a feeling because, for those who don't know, when you have the virtual studio like I do, because we're here in the Matt Black Kia studios here on 97.3 ESPN FM. We're on the app on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, but we still have this virtual studio setup where we can get a better quality connection with the guests so I can see the guest when I'm talking to them. Visually, it looked like the phone, like the signal died because the way, like, for example, if your phone is like buffering or you don't have good internet, it acts one way on my screen. It looks like something totally different if someone's phone dies. So I had a feeling that Rob's phone died. So he literally texted me back because I texted him. I said, "Your phone died, didn't you?" He got back to me about 5 minutes later. He says, "Yeah, my phone ran out of juice. It's zapped." Poor Rob. He's such a great guy to come on here every week, and phone dies. Got pulled over the one day on the air. He's fine. Everything's fine. He had to deal with a hurricane coming through Florida. I mean, the guy's got enough to deal with, being a dad with kids and everything. He's got 2 podcasts, the AP Pro Football podcast and the Faith on the Field, which you hear Saturdays at 9 a.m. on 97.3 ESPN. Oh, my goodness. By the way, we've been talking a lot about this upcoming week. So, if you haven't gone to 97.3 ESPN.com or the 97.3 ESPN mobile app to see the full Phillies schedule, games 1 and 2 you can hear coming up next 2 days here on 97.3 ESPN FM. And then Friday, Saturday, we don't know the times for those games yet. As soon as we know, we will let you know. But also coming up this weekend, Witchcraft returns to Paradise Lakes for 2 days. The much anticipated fall festival will have you in a hex over at Paradise Lakes Campground in Hamilton, Friday, October 14th, and Saturday, October 15th from 7 to 11 p.m. The experience is unlike any other beer festival, autumn activity, or spook show. Imagine a one-of-a-kind Halloween lifestyle extravaganza, tents decked out to the nines in mysterious haunt, as well as 60 brewmasters and distillery wizards pouring their classics. So, if you want to go to Witchcraft this weekend, off-site parking is free. Shuttles are located at Lady of Mount Carmel over on Tilton Street in Hamilton. For more information how you can get tickets, go to witchcraftnj.com. And Mike Gill will be giving away a couple pairs of tickets this week on the Sports Bash. But if you don't want to, press your luck, how about we call it that? Then you can just go to witchcraftnj.com and get your tickets. Before we get out of here, a couple things. Tom over in Margate chimed in on the text board at 609-403-0973. Tom in Margate chimes in, "I am still celebrating the Phillies have caught Red October, overcame a lot of adversity this year. Tribute to the city of Philadelphia, and the Eagles are 5-0 and it's Dallas week. I'm buying some more Smithwicks plus champagne." That's from Tom in Margate. He says, salute. Tom, first of all, I always appreciate you chiming in and listening to the shows. Sports Facts with Mike Gill and Game Night with Josh Hennig. Here's the thing. This is, as Mike Gill mentions, it's an incredible time of year. And for sports fans, there's a reason why people like me don't watch a lot of non-sports shows this time of year, because there's only so much time to go around. At some point, you're running out of real estate, right? At some point, I got the Phillies tomorrow afternoon. I got the Phillies on Wednesday. I got Thursday football Thursday, Phillies Friday, Phillies Saturday, Phillies Sunday, Eagles Sunday. When am I going to have time to watch anything else? We all got lives here. So it's like, it's absolutely hilarious watching all this play out. And I'm excited to be talking to all of you guys about it. Look, if you're asking me my Phillies prediction right now, I have trouble believing they're going to win this series. But the path to victory is Wheeler and Nola. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they are up 2-1 after 3 games. And then it just comes down to Saturday and Sunday's game 4 and game 5. I want to know if the Braves get Strider back, that's going to be a big part of the question. Which Charlie Morton do you get in this series as a starter? Do you get the Charlie Morton that has won a World Series, that has been one of the most clutch elite pitchers in all of baseball in terms of postseason pitching? In his stops in Houston and Atlanta and Tampa? Or do you get the Charlie Morton that got rocked for runs this year? They're two different people. I think that two keys to this series are how much Strider do you get because he's coming off an injury, and how much Morton, what version of Morton do you get for the Braves? And for the Phillies, can Wheeler and Nola be the consistent stalwarts that you know they can be? And do you get something from the other guys? Because Suarez pitches game 1. I like to see Bailey Falter pitch game 4 personally. I want to see Bailey Falter out there in front of the home crowd on Saturday. I want to see Kyle Gibson. I'm not interested in seeing Zach Eflin as an opener for 2-3 innings. I want to see Falter get his shot. That's just me. I think the Phillies ultimately lose this series of 7 games. So. But I've been wrong more about the Phillies, right? I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. I'll catch you tomorrow. We're trying Mike Gill after the Phillies game tomorrow.
It's Mike Gill from the Sports Bash. Don't forget, you can listen to the Phillies and Braves NLDS Game 1 tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 12:30. Then I'll be on with reaction on the Sports Bash as soon as the game is over on 97.3 ESPN. That's Phillies and Braves Game 1 tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN, followed by reaction on the Sports Bash with me, Mike Gill. And we'll have Game 2 on Wednesday starting at 4:30 on 97.3 ESPN.